Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Of course, I pressed the buttons in the wrong order. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave, and Jake is now unmuted.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake. Thank you for being with us. Tonight, we're joined by the fabulous Ninjon, who I'm sure everybody's familiar with.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Oh yeah, my name is John. I'm on the internet sometimes, so I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one in my own nerdy hobby space as we record. I feel like as it's meant to be. Our butts have made their permanent homes. They're the perfect shape. So we might as well be here and talk, right?
Absolutely. This is the beauty of doing it live. Dave, every episode is an adventure. So.
There are so many buttons to click, and they're all really close to each other. and far away. I don't know what's going on.
Dave does a great job. Like not only is he my fantastic co-host, he's also essentially our like technical director like during the show. So
yeah, I would love to have a producer who could actually just do all the stuff. Like
we're working on it. We're working on it.
Right. But just quickly going to say hi to folks in the chat. We've got Mark Maxey is here. Hi, Mark. Jess Hunt as well. Welcome. Jeff Smith is here. Dave Hummel, Luis, Josh Sawyer, Patrick's here.
In one of his many aliases.
Yep, in his table ready or not. It's Patrick Keith. Says howdy. And C. Catlet says, hello, Eljon. I'm on the internet sometimes.
Right.
For sure. I mean, it's
Brent's here.
Like every week. You're on what 2-3 times, 4 times?
Yeah, enough. It always feels like that's the thing of content creation. It never feels like enough. However much that you give, YouTube wants to suck more of your lifeblood. So, yeah, I'm on.
Fantastic. That's why I'm pretty happy with our schedule, which is just once a week,
yep.
2 hours a week, 40 weeks a year. We're good.
That was very intentional. We were like, how often do we want to do this?
Yes,
that's smart. 40 weeks a year. Where'd you come up with 40 weeks? Or do you actually think there's 40 weeks in a year? In which case, we have a hard conversation.
If you use the Australian calendar,
you're right.
It's much different down there. I don't know why we came up with. I think it was like 20 seems like a reasonable number for a season.
Yeah, I think the first season. I think the first season was, I think we did 20. I think the way we started was 20. We did 20-ish weeks. And then I think we took our first break for like the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we were basically off for, essentially December and like the last week of November and then the first week of January. And then we started the second season. And then it just ended up, we're like, oh, we'll do the same number of episodes. And then we take a break in the summer because we do like San Diego Comic-Con and a bunch of like crazy stuff. So it just it just worked out that way. But I don't think we intentionally were like, let's make sure we only do 40 weeks. I don't think we were that like, I don't think we were that deliberate about it.
Yeah, no, we were clueless at the start for sure.
Well, don't tell anybody that. Just to say that this was all a very smart strategic plan that we had thoroughly vetted prior to making that decision.
Well, now it lives on the internet forever, so it's too late.
Yeah, you just
years and years of internet research.
I've included a bunch of people in a Signal chat. I didn't mean to, and now they all know about it.
Fantastic. Awesome. Also, Scott is here. Maya Fisher is here. Hello.
That's Alan's here.
Brent from Goobenhound Hobbies is here. Alan is here. Loads of folks. Fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something that I'm particularly fond of, which is choosing color schemes and ways to, I guess, get color schemes that work, that can work in various ways. And I know that you've been talking about this a lot on your channel, probably for the last, specifically for the last year and a half, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I'm very excited to talk a bit more about the deck of many colors. But I guess while we're waiting for that, before we get into that,
should
we talk about stuff that we've been doing recently?
Sure.
I love talking about hobby, so let's talk a little hobby.
Talk about toy soldiers.
Yes.
Fantastic.
That is the main thrust of the show.
Building, painting, and playing with toy soldiers. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you're painting toy soldiers, we recommend you paint them with Army Painter paints. Big thanks to the Army Painter, who are our ongoing sponsors. Jake and I are both members of the Army Painter factory team. And we are looking forward to doing some more stuff with the factory team in 2026.
That's why Alan's in the chat. He's just there to make sure that we do our due diligence and that Army Painter gets their screen time.
I thought I saw those shot collars around your necks, and I was wondering why. And now I see that why. Alan's got his hand on the buzzer. I get it. No, Army Painter is also a sponsor of Trapped Under Plastic, and we love them. Obviously, I love their products. I've used their products for years, and I can tell you in kind of a lead up to talking about color tonight, and a lot of really amazing breakthroughs and kind of revelation moments in dealing with some of their sets. You know, they've got the John Blanche set, and that kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things with color. So good stuff.
It is that set in particular is pretty crazy, isn't it? The amount of things that you can do with the colors from those two, well, the first two sets, volume 1 and 2, are just incredible. But,
right. Yeah. And how diverse and how different you can make models look, even though if you look at those sets and you're like, well, there's a lot of colors that aren't here. But oftentimes, if you think about things and what you don't have, you actually are limiting yourself on really exploring the space of what you do have. I find that painting with putting your own kind of bumpers on your bowling lane can also lead to like painting in a style that you're not used to, and realizing that you actually can accomplish things far above what you thought you could. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of that, you've been having some fun recently?
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. These are I painted a bunch of models from the new Dark Water box, and kind of with that same kind of color limitation in mind. And in my next iteration of my underpainting kind of journey that I've explored through my channel, it's kind of been on my own terms. This is kind of the journey I've been going down, as it were, on my own. And I'm just fortunate enough to be able to like, hey, I found this cool thing. I'm kind of messing around with this thing. What do you all think? And sometimes I find that I can get more breakthroughs with my own painting by forcing myself to be able to write a script and to describe what I'm doing in a way that I feel like I would be able to understand, not knowing anything about this. And so, yeah, I've just had a lot of fun. This guy is obviously one of my favorites. And just kind of working with, you slap down a bunch of really vibrant colors that don't have anything to do with the final surface color, and then you just go right into base coating / highlighting. I kind of keep those terms actually kind of lumped together in this painting style. I treat it more as the first coat of paint with my smaller paintbrush is actually my first highlight. It just happens to cover quite a bit of space. So
when you paint something like this and you come up with that kind of process, do you kind of paint it first and then go back and break down the process for people, or do you break it down in your head and do it in that order?
That's a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that question. The biggest thing that I've learned in this ties to kind of how I approach my videos as a whole is I have the idea for the video of where I want it to go, and then I just focus on painting the things. And so my plan for this video was to explore this next kind of iteration of underpainting, but not have it figured out and not have the final direction or my thoughts on where it goes. That's oftentimes why you see me make mistakes and talk about my mistakes in my video, because I didn't have it all figured out first anyway. And so then when I'm writing the script and I'm reviewing the footage and my painting footage and kind of see what story I want to tell, that's when it comes together of my experience and what I think's valuable. What are the key points that I want to make sure that were big impacts for me, that those are the things that I talk about.
Nice. This is phenomenal work. I'm especially drawn to his like gross distended blue fingers. Like does not have circulation. Like he's so like very, very cool use of color. And like, it's a neat trick to see. Mostly when people do a specific model, especially something in Warhammer where it's like the Chaos Gods, they have specific palettes, right? So like most people do Nurgle and it's like green and gross and kind of nasty. But you've got cool tones and then you've got warm tones mixed in here too, which is great. It's a really, really, it's almost like you painted two models. You painted his left arm and then you painted a Nurgle champion.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Here's the shot from the back there.
That's a cool sculpt too. I dig that guy.
Yeah, he is probably my favorite version of like a Plague Marine that they've ever done. I use that term kind of, they kind of cross over. It's one of those models that is just whatever you put in his weapon hand will determine whether he's 40K AOS. And so these are so good. And just kind of having fun and exploring with color. Like if we look on the backside, he looked at on his arm, it's a green highlights that are shown there.
Yeah.
And that actually is kind of that green. There's little lines of that on his fat that's folding over his breastplate. There's little lines of that. And kind of the whole point of that is it's really pretty. It seems very complex and you're like, oh, you really know what you're doing. And look at how you've changed colors for the downward facing surfaces. But one thing I've learned over the years in miniature painting that's really been a level up for me is that in order to make our models truly look and feel 3D, the underside of any surface, anything that's facing below, does have some small amount of bounce reflection from the environment. And like what we do so often in miniature painting, we're kind of over exaggerating, we're over extending what it looks like compared to real life because we're working on such a small scale. And so like I had that green kind of already mixed on my palette from the armor. And I'm like, well, what if I mix a little of that in the skin tone in the under facing surfaces of the skin? It doesn't need to make sense logically. It's just an interest use of color. And I was like, wow, I like it. And if I didn't like it, I could have painted over it. But I was like, this is fun. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've linked to your channel down in the notes below. Hopefully, I expect everybody who's watching is already knows your channel, but definitely go and check out the latest video, and you can see all of the crazy colors that went on first for the underpainting here, and that process of that bounce light or moving those colors around, which is very cool to check out.
Yeah, and fair warning on these, when you do that first step and you blast them with color with just a big synthetic crappy brush that you have, they look like garbage at that step. And so like that's part of the fun is like, I mean,
steer into the skid.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's just it. Yeah, we're going off
the ugly phase and then building it from there.
But the one thing that I found, especially because these are all fairly fast paint jobs. Now, the more experience you have with them, the quicker you can get to a better result in that second step. But they're not fast. They're excuse me, about 2 to 3 hours each model. And that was it. Everything that I paint that I do on a video takes me roughly somewhere between 50 and 100% longer to do on video because there's just more variables. But just know that I've found that when you make big impact with color at the very beginning, your job of getting it making a very interesting looking model in a quick period of time is much easier. Trying to add color impact after the fact, like, oh, now I'm going to glaze in, some more powerful colors, or I'm going to push the vibrant colors over here. If you just started with them, you just like, well, they're there. So now I got to deal with the rest of everything. And I just find it's more fun too, because it's almost like opening a present on Christmas morning, because you're like, I don't know what this is going to be when we're done, but hopefully we're surprised and it's a Nintendo 64 and not socks, right? That's what I'm thinking. So
yeah, excellent. And this guy here, you can see a lot more of it. It feels a bit more like it's the exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Those undertones, undercolors.
These Pestigore, they have a lot of flesh, and I want them to feel like a living flesh, but also not like an elf skin or a human skin. So there's a bit of a terracotta color that's mixed in a lot of places. There's a little bit more of a ruddy tone, and then some areas I go straight to that pale purple, and I don't have to know why. I get bored when I paint, so I just want to have a different color somewhere else, and we just make it happen. So
they've got that great transition that's like when you see like fish belly skin or like stuff that's like rotting, it's got that like oil translucence kind of rainbow effect, which is great.
Yeah.
I also love that just from a 40K, from a Warhammer standpoint, like now we have like the gores again. So you've got like Ungors and Gores, which are generic, and then you've got Zangors, and now you've got Pestigores again. Like that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, they're such gorgeous models, and the new Gore sculpts are really, really cool. So I'm excited to have them back too.
Yeah.
And then there's this Clown Fiesta. This was the third model. So I did actually, the pictures that I showed were in the order that I painted them. The first one is probably the tamest, and they got progressively wilder as I painted these.
Yep.
And this one was just like, man, he's got that plague bearer kind of core, right? Because he's kind of a plague bearer triplets on steroids kind of a
Is he a plague bearer giant? He looks big.
Yeah, he's big. He's big. So he's about another head and shoulders taller than the plague marine. So he's a pretty big model on a 60 mil.
He's like an ogre. Okay.
Yeah.
Or troll.
Yeah, he's not quite as big as a troll, but he's big. But like, you can paint all the skin with just, like a plague bear with green. And I wanted that to still be present, to like still feel kind of homage to what is the faction and what are these models. But because I placed so much like purples and blues and even rusty reds in the undertones, there was actually no greens painted for any of his skin in the undertones. So it was like, then it's an exercise of creating color depth of these interesting undertones and kind of leaning into it. It's like, oh, I had more blue here, so I'll accent that blue when I do my little bit of highlights, or I want to punch the kind of lime green in some areas like the kneecap and stuff. So yeah,
he's really cool. He almost reads like Christmassy because he's got the little mistletoe berries like hanging off of his shoulder. Like
he does. I didn't think about that till 'tis the season. I should have leaned into that and made him like Christmas nurgling.
His hand is super weird. That like broken pinky he's got going on. Like
right.
That sword is awesome.
Yeah. That's a big blade to paint, and right, like I didn't want it to be boring. And actually I find that like doing a really fast and dirty non-metallic metal with these wild undertones is actually really fun, because you can be a little bit quick and messy with it, but because you have these weird tones underneath and you're just scratching gray on top, it's like, oh, it just feels aged, or it feels like it's a reflection of what's around you, and you don't have to know what you're doing to make it look like you knew what you were doing. So
yeah, well, it reads like you knew what you were doing. So
that's my goal. And then this guy has these weird little bug butt, and as I'm painting this model, I'm like, I have to make this a focal point. Like, this is when you turn them all around, I want you to look at this silly, cute little bug butt. And so I made that like weirdly human skin tone flesh and have it a bright highlight line, like it's kind of shiny. You can't look at the back of this model and not look at that. So that was it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Just quickly, I'm going to mentioned the chat. Cat Swift has joined us. Hi, Cat. And Jez, John, I don't think you know, but Jez Hunt is our resident, I guess, costumer prop maker in the British movie and television industry.
Whoa.
And he's just he mentioned that he's been working on some costume props for Dune Part 3.
Yeah, Hubble brag right there, Jazz. Holy crap. That's a small little IP you're working on there.
Dude, I can't wait. I love the first two, so I'm stoked for the next one.
It's not bad. Me too. And Brendan Bell has just joined us. Hi, Brendan. Welcome. Cool. So
what about you guys? What have you been working on?
I've been working on more Trench Crusade. Surprise.
Oh boy.
I've been obsessed
Dave's
with
been bitten by the bug pretty hard.
big time. So this is my Heretic Legion warband using the Corvus Cabal. I've got a Chorister in the middle, a Death Commando. This is my Artillery Witch.
That is the greatest Artillery Witch custom version I've seen. That is amazing.
He can use this for Trench Crusade or Warcry.
Yeah. I can use it for both, multi-purpose. And I've got my Anointed in the middle here, and Troopers on the outside. So happy with that. Actually, I said Anointed, didn't I? I meant Legionaries.
What's the thing in the back with the gold armor?
That's a Death Commando.
That's your Death Commando. Okay.
Yeah. So that was one where I just took the original Death Commando STL, merged a Raven skull onto the helmet, and gave him. I actually took some of Victoria Miniatures Winged Lancer wings and merged them onto the back of the arms.
When you say merged, Dave, are you talking about you physically added them, or you did this digitally?
Did it digitally.
Oh, wow.
And then printed it out. So there.
I told you he's got the bug. That's what he's been doing.
I mean, you might have to teach me your ways.
Sure. I'll show you the super basic level that I'm at.
that's a level I prefer.
We'll talk about it after the show.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to sort of mess around with. And then the rest of the warband.
Is that your Warwolf?
It is my Warwolf, yeah.
Nice.
It's a crazy sort of enlarged human shape, covered in rags and feathers and this enormous skull. The flock of ravens at the back there is going to be my Goetic Warlock. In the game, the Goetic Warlock can sort of run up, grab you, and then teleport you somewhere else. So I figured that would be a kind of
very thematic. That fits.
A frenzy of flock of birds, and all of a sudden you don't know where you are. And then my again, just the what do you call him? That's my Heretic Priest on the right there.
Sure.
From a I found a appropriate STL on my mini factory and went from there.
He's super cool.
Yeah,
I like that you really you leaned into the Raven theme. It's just like everybody has a crow head, and
yeah, pretty much
I appreciate that. I appreciate.
Everybody has a Raven skull except for the flock of ravens.
Well, technically they do have a Raven skull, Dave.
This is true.
It's just hidden.
They have a whole bunch of them.
But yeah, so that was fun. I finished those off. I can't remember when, Wednesday or Thursday, and then jumped into working on my Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent Sloth warband.
I don't like this guy at all.
Yeah, I didn't think you would. I do it deliberately. I mess around with the body horror stuff, so that takes
not for me.
But yeah, the bulk of this model comes from a which I think it's Bestiarum, one of their sculpts, which is
it looks like Blob from the X-Men, and like
right.
but he's into like some BDSM stuff.
Yeah,
right. For the Sloth warband, the Desecrated Saint has an aura. Well, all the Desecrated Saints have auras. The Sloth warband aura is anybody who takes a minor hit within 8 inches of this guy automatically gets the down result. Yeah. So normally people try to avoid that down result because there's a lot of nasty things that can happen, but this guy basically makes you want to lie down. So I figured that I would then I'd make him the patron saint of shepherds. So the whole he maketh thee to lay down in green pastures.
Nice.
Psalm 23.
Wow.
Thing.
Dave's gone all in.
Right. Yeah. You are developing your own really intricate lore here. I feel like you are knee deep.
So I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I also, sloth wise, I wanted the wretched to sort of be covered in fungus, kind of Last of Us kind of style.
Nice. Does he not have feet, or are they just cut off in the picture?
No, well, he has stumps of sorts.
Oh, sure. Okay. I was trying to figure out if they were feet and they got cut off in the image, or
all right. No,
that was deliberate.
That's deliberate. That's part of the model, the original.
Nice.
And there they are, all printed out. This is the whole warband.
So the fungus theme is throughout every model then too?
It's not on every model. It's on the wretched and the desecrated saint.
Got it.
Really. It's kind of like they're the ones that are most ill-treated, I guess.
Okay.
So I added the sort of disc mushrooms to him with some green stuff. Added some extra texture with some putty. That's the red. You can see there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help myself. I started painting them.
Oh, I like that really pale, sickly palette. That works.
Yeah, I wanted to have a bit more of that, have that kind of mushroom feel, like so, almost as if you opened up the fridge and reached into the back and you pulled out that gross bag of like portobello mushrooms that you forgot you put back there ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I really like that. It's striking.
I like that demon guy. He's cool.
On the right, the yoke
Yeah,
thing.
his head is like super cool.
Yeah, it's very has a very Ungor kind of feel to it. A flattened face. But yeah.
I dig both warbands. I dig them.
Those are awesome.
Scott Radham says Dave Taylor discovered the Rob Liefeld solution to feet.
Nice. Just don't draw feet.
Just don't draw feet. Don't sculpt them. It's all good. But yeah, fun. So that's what I've been up to. Jake?
Dave, Jez says you need to check out a game called Veritwood. It's a cult. You play a cult in a full core game. One of the evil rituals lets you puke crows at your enemies.
Nice.
All right.
I will have to check that out. It sounds like I already have a warband for it. So.
Yeah, I think you're already doing it. I think you've already gotten there.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is my loyalist army for Heresy. I played at a Heresy event this weekend called Everwinter from the guys at Horus Heresy Roadshow. Pretty fun. It was supposed to be 50 on 50. I guess they had a bunch of people kind of drop out at the last minute, so I think it ended up being, I think there were slightly more loyalists than there were traitors, but then by the third day, a bunch of people had like left early, including a big group of guys that left early to drive back to Albany to try to beat a snowstorm. So in the last round, we were outnumbered. I think there were 11 loyalists left, and there were like 19 heretics. But we ended up, the loyalists pulled out the win. We won, I think, 168 to 131 was the total. Myself, Ben, and a handful of other people, we were all undefeated. So I went 4-0. So the big shot, the big shot at the beginning is that's the whole list. So it's basically the majority of my force is Warhounds, which is they're the Legion before Angron turns them into world leaders. So these guys were never world leaders. It's a fun list. It's mostly troops on the right. I've got, Gaizo and Rhino is pretty standard. I've got a big Dreadnought, Land Raider with a Terminator squad. I've got a giant Spartan full of Rampagers, and then those 4 guys in the middle are kind of the officers. So I've got like a Praetor with Lightning Claws. I've got a Moritat. I've got a Centurion in Cataphractii armor and a Master of Signals. And then on the left, I didn't have enough points, so I allied in an Iron Warriors like armor detachment. So I had to take an HQ, which is I did the Pathfinder, so I could basically stick him in a building with a sniper rifle. And then I've got the 3 tanks. The tanks did work; like they were helpful. Because my army does not have a lot of firepower, so that was good. I got to dump buckets of dice on people with the two Sakarans, and then the Venator was great. Some people brought some pretty hairy tanks, and I was able to kind of whittle them down with the Venator. But it was a ton of fun. I had a great time. I cannot recommend Heresy enough. It is a phenomenal system. Yeah, that's the majority list, and then that guy was fun. Kit bashed him and got him painted up.
Looks good. It looked good. They look good together too, even though they're allied in. Like the more neutral colors of your allied in stuff kind of just fits. Like it's like, well, we found these guys on the way over here, so
we found these guys in the trash, so we brought them with us. Yeah. So that's Ben on the left. That's my business partner. That's our buddy Gary. Gary was playing Traitor Night Lords. Ben was playing Traitor Sons of Horus. All 3 of us went 4-0. But it was a good time. We went out to dinner the first night. And then I've got some photos from my games, I think, and I don't know what Dave's put in here. So this is my first match. This was a really weird mission. So we're playing the Solar War. So this is like the assault on the palace. So I'm supposed to start on the wall, and the wall is big. It's like 12 inches high. And we were like, how does this work for the purposes of play? Because I have like vehicles, and they're like, oh, so it only counts as 3 inches of vertical movement. And I was like, okay, so I'm playing an army that wants to get into close combat. So for the first round, I played very conservative and sat back. And then I was like, yeah, this sucks. I don't want to do that. So I just Dukes hazarded all of my tanks off of the wall and smashed into combat. And this was good. This kid was playing Thousand Suns. They're a very fiddly army. Like he has a lot of, each of his different guys has a different like school of magic essentially. So they all do really different things. But it was fun. I basically was like, I cast Chainsword. So I got to jump all over them, which was a good time. So yeah, the Venator you can see on the top right-hand corner, that thing popped his tank in the middle there. And then our Spartans basically blew each other up, which was fine with me because I was like, the Spartans there just to make sure my guys get into combat. So it did its job. But that was fun. That was a good battle. This is my second battle. This is a little fuzzier than I thought. I think it had a tough time focusing on everything. Yep. This battle was terrifying. At the beginning of this game, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get a win here. This guy's list was 3 huge blobs of Terminators, 1 with Typhus, 1 with Mortarion, and 1 with like a Librarian. And then he had like a row of tanks in the back, and then 2 squads in Rhinos, and then like a Dreadnought. And I was like, yeah, all that doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's Mortarion and 30 Terminators. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I was able to just kind of play the mission, and I basically took all the objectives and just sat on them, and got my Centurion into close combat and issued a challenge, and he accepted Mortarion, and I basically lasted through 2 rounds of challenges, which should not have happened. Like, he should have got squashed. But worked out great, held him up, and basically won the game because of it. So I ended up, this was my biggest win. But again, did not see that coming. I was like, this is going to be rough sledding. But it was fun. Again, the thing I like about Heresy is like as long as you play the mission and your army is designed to like take objectives and hold objectives, it's really fun. Like Ben always describes it as 40K is rock, paper, scissors, and Heresy is rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. For anybody who used to watch Big Bang Theory. So there's just more combo ways to win. So as long as your army can kind of do a little bit of everything, like my army is built like an army from basically like, I would say 4th or 5th edition. So it's really balanced. Like without meaning to be, it's very well balanced. And because of that, I can kind of do like, oh, I need to get into a slugfest. Cool. I'll go punch it out. I need to shoot stuff. Okay. I can sit back and shoot. I need to take a bunch of objectives. I have a bunch of tactical units that can like take and hold objectives. But it's great. I love it.
Scott says, Jake, you're always going to narrative events and going 4-0. I think you might be a greasy tournament player.
Well, Please, like this kid's list was a greasy tournament player list, and he killed a ton of my stuff. He didn't have anything to take objectives, so like every turn I just cleaned up on objective points.
Right.
This battle, you can see all of my tanks smoking in the background. That giant gray blob on the bottom left, that is a storm sword. So every round, it just blew something of mine off the board.
Right.
He had 4 big blobs of Ogrins. So they have Ogrins with like slab shields and shock mauls. They are super hard to kill. Very, very tough to deal with. But as long as I could get a charge off with my rampagers, they were great. They rolled up the left-hand side here, or our right-hand side. They rolled up and just like Pac-Man through like 3 units. As long as they got the charge off, they were great. There was one turn where they were stuck in no man's land and the Shadow Sword killed half of them. So that was not great, but this was fun. This guy's list was really, really weird. Just a million models on the table. It was like Trader Guard basically, but it was a fun list. All of his guys, you can't really see him, but all of his actual infantry, they're all like metal Armageddon Steel Legion. So he had like a million of them.
Yeah. Pretty impressive on the table for sure.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
Brent says that he saw Jake play very greasy.
Please.
Frank Baker's joined us. Stephen Ryder's here as well. Tabletop Super Show. Excited to get to watch it live for a change.
Nice.
And Dave Hummel wants to know what he was using the Cargo 8s for.
Oh, so the Cargo 8s were I think they're just their whatever their transports are in Heresy. I don't know what they're called. They're like the Solar Auxilla transports.
Dracosan. Oh, sorry.
Aren't the Dracosans the big armored ones?
Well, they're transports, yeah.
Oh, so these things were not armored. Like he was telling me that they're all armor. They're like armor 11 on the front, armor 10 everywhere else. And I was like, okay. So, I mean, I was killing them with like grenades and like shooting them.
Okay. Yeah, not Dracosans then.
But they looked really cool. He had like a heavy flamer on each of them. That's bad news. Yeah. He had tons of the old commissar models. So there were like, discipline officers in every single squad.
Nice.
This was the last match. So it was me against Night Lords. This table looked really cool. The kid who I was playing actually designed this table. Beautiful table, really, really fun. Nightmarish to play on, especially if you have vehicles. So I set up, and my whole side of the board was like a parking lot. And he was like, "Oh, I didn't realize people would have this many vehicles." And I was like, "I mean," so it was fun. But the cool, and again, they did the whole like every vertical level, like so. The rules were vehicles couldn't drive up unless there was a ramp or an incline. But infantry or anything that was a walker could. And then vertical movement counted as 3 inches. So my Leviathan you see back there basically got to move 6 inches. So I moved 3 straight up and then another 3 straight up and then was basically king of the hill and just crushed everything that came near the objective. And then the guy on the left, that's my sniper hiding on the crane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a proper positioning.
I thought so. I liked it. But but this was a fun mission. It was an absolute mess. There were like by the end of the game there were like rhinos everywhere and like troops all over the place and a lot of running around. But my Leviathan did us proud. He was just up there smashing dudes. He killed 2 units and saw off a third.
Oof.
Nice. Oof. So we have been crazy busy. Normally it's not this long per hour.
Yeah, usually
roundup of what's going on this week. But thanks for bearing with us, everyone. I've turned off the presentation because I figured we'll just look at your stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
John sent me a bunch of photos, but when we talked about some stuff just before the show, we found out that John can also do presentation. You want to do that first? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, we can have some kind of visuals here as if it lets me here.
Yep. So we're going to jump into the meat and potatoes of the episode and talk about the deck of many colors.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Sorry, I ran over at my stuff. I was just really excited about it.
Oh, no. That's fine. We all talk. it was all good.
Yeah, well, I guess. Well, a little exciting thing for tonight is that some of the stuff I will share tonight. This is the first time that anyone has seen this outside of myself and the product development firm that I'm working with to bring this project to life. And so I'm actually getting to the point where this week I have all the final files being sent to the printer, and then I wait in line. Hopefully the line is short enough that within the next couple of weeks, this project will be going through the printer. And so these will actually be a physical thing, and that's going to be pretty exciting. It's been about a 15-month, 18-month process at this point from when I first decided I wanted to do this. And maybe that's a better spot to start with this conversation until we have a physical product.
So what were the ones that we saw at Nova?
Those were my sample cards. So,
okay.
And actually,
yeah, because I was like, I had some of those.
Yes, and so these were cards where I was like, when I was going to an event at like Nova was a prime time to do it. I wanted to make a template of the entire process of what the actual product would look like at the end, and grab some artwork and try to figure out the design process. Actually, one of the best artists that I worked with for this whole process was just kind of happenstance how I found her. Her name is Mary. She's from the UK, and she did all the border work on all these cards. And we'll get to that part a little bit later when I show some actually finalized cards. But if you had some samples in hand and could see the foiling and everything, the border work and the template work to make it feel like it's all, it goes with the theme of each deck, where I've got two decks. There's a sci-fi deck and a fantasy deck. The border work, the theme, the fonts, everything is different based on which deck you have. And so I wanted to feel that way. And that was glorious. But yes, and the good thing is, in running through those samples and figuring out that process, I learned some things that I could then change before I got to the final product. One of the big ones is none of the art in those samples is actually in our final 100 cards from these two decks. Nice. It's entirely new, because part of the process that takes the longest for this is finding artists and artwork that really inspires, that feels like it's got a good cohesive color scheme that works with our themes, that kind of thing, and using that. And so for those samples, I was kind of under the gun to get them out in time. And I worked through places like DeviantArt and ArtStation to find works that then I could, pay the artist to be able to use it for these samples. And at that point, I thought if an artist had their own online presence on sites like that means they didn't use AI. And I came to realize that it's not quite so simplistic as that, and wasn't entirely certain. I didn't have 100% confidence that all of those works were not, at least at some point, AI generated. Right. And so that made me very uncomfortable, very nervous, very upset. The artists all told me that they didn't, but I don't know if I believe that. So getting into the next phase was determining, how do I ensure, how do I really, work with real people? And that was really it, was working one-on-one with artists and talking about their catalog and looking through the work that they've done, finding our color schemes that really excite me, that I think would translate to miniatures well. And then, paying them for work that they've already done. That's really one of the exciting things about this, is that, I got to say, you made this. I think it's awesome. Whether it was for a previous work you did or a previous project or just for yourself, can I pay you? And they're like, wow, okay, sure. Yeah. Free money. Okay. And that was amazing. That was amazing. So a large portion from when I went to pre-order for this project, the wonderful people that have supported, and my website still is taking pre-orders for a little bit longer for that pre-order price.
There's a link.
Oh, thank you for that. That money went to paying artists, and then we'll pay for us to go to the printers. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but the kind of the catalyst for this was throughout the last 3 or 4 years, I've done a lot of experimentation in miniature painting around color on my channel and as a part of my own kind of journey in miniature painting. And I found that once you get beyond, well, for example, what Games Workshop tells you you should paint this faction. This faction is these colors, and these colors are these paints in our paint range. Conveniently, we sell these paints for you if you want to buy them. Once you get beyond that, it can be pretty daunting. It can be pretty stressful. Like, do I want to commit to painting an entire army or even 5 hours on a single model and like don't feel confident at all in the colors and how they work together? And I felt that, and I felt like that was a common thing. And there's a lot of great resources out there on color selection, on color cohesiveness, on color schemes. That kind of stuff is not outside of our hobbies, has existed for forever, as long as two-dimensional art has existed. But oftentimes it's either you've got to do a lot of digging and research, and sometimes you can find stuff, but you can't find good examples that really relate to the themes that we often work with in science fiction and fantasy. And so I thought, well, what if this kind of thing existed for us? And originally this plan, I had found something called the color cubes. It's a product that's sold, and I ordered them and I showcased them with a couple videos on my channel, and they're a similar kind of format that we see on my color cards here. But the difference is they're just photographs, and they're typically like environmental photographs, stuff like a flowery field or a beach setting with the sunset and that kind of a thing. And it's less immediately translatable. Also, there's not really any figure forward pictures as examples, right? There's not really people. It's just all landscapes. And while my cards do have some examples of landscapes and showing color in landscapes, and you can absolutely translate that to your figures, I also have a lot of works that are very figure featured. So you can see the colors in play and how these colors work together on what you would translate into a model or a person in this case. So yeah, that was that. So I actually went to the creator of the color cube. She saw that I had made videos and that I had a link to the color cube on there, and she sold a whole bunch of them. So she was like, "Hey, this is great. You know, can I send you more and stuff?" And I'm like, "Actually, I'd like to have a conversation with you about partnering together to make a color cube that's focused on art that's science fiction and fantasy, and that we bring that to market." And she said that's not doable. She said that's too much work. You have to work with artists. You have to get commercial licensing for all this. It's a giant pain. There's a reason why I use open photographs that I can buy off of Photoshop for $5 a pop and then do them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So I kind of was like, well, I guess if this is, it felt like something that should exist in our hobby. It felt like this is something that, like, you know, like I want to exist in the world. So I'm like, well, I guess if I want it to exist, then and I guess I just got to do it. So I went down that path, and it's about 15 months that I've been working on it. So yeah.
Just in the chat, Mark, so Maya Fisher says, I ordered both decks of many colors. I'm excited. Mark Maxey said color theory, unfortunately, is so undervalued, and it's very important for army cohesiveness and imperative for competition painting.
Mm-hmm.
And Jez says, the color cubes are cool. This artwork is definitely more us, a product for nerdy mini wranglers.
Right. Yeah, that's what I want it to be. And a big part of this too is I'm kind of scrolling through some of our finalized art, is I wanted there to be a wide variety of styles. I want to show that different artists' styles, if we see this very painterly approach of this is Goblin riding a warthog, but it's a very painterly, very brushstroke heavy. Look at all the blues and the greens, as well as the purples and the pinks and the tans on that boar skin, and then compare that to something like this. Like completely different art style. This is much more traditional illustration, comic book style, and how, you know, we can go from something very realistic like this and how color is used and show it. And one thing that I learned is I've spent countless hours in looking at the artworks and defining which 100 pieces that I wanted and narrowing it down. And then determining colors that I picked was that, like, there's so much to learn in color in just about any piece of colorful artwork that we look at. And the hardest part is sometimes is just identifying what is making the impact, what colors are making the impact, and how are they being balanced. A big part of this is not only me showing you the 5 important colors that are used, but you then looking at that color, for example, this almost peach color in the middle here, this tanny peach on this one, the middle color, and then seeing how often is that color used throughout. And you could flip the script on this artwork. There's a lot of blues and there's a lot of purples, the top 2 colors on the swatches up here. Yeah. But what if you flipped it the other way and you use that blue and that purple as the accent, and you use that peach and that more kind of salmony color in the bottom as the primary focal forward colors? They'd still work in harmony, but you'd have an entirely different feel and that kind of thing. So
are the numbers you have, are those like the Pantone codes?
Those are the hex codes.
Hex codes, okay.
Hex codes. Yep. So that is the same thing. So you can, and they are on each of the cards as well. So you could put those on the Hextone website or whatever, and you'll pull up on your screen and it'll show you exactly what that tone is. And if you use certain softwares, it's pretty common these days. You can pop in that code and you can pull up a grid and you can like increase the intensity and make it more saturated. Or you can say, what if this color was lighter? Oh, this is what the color would look like. Okay, I have a paint. If I want a highlight color, that's a lighter version. You can kind of mess with it digitally if you want. You don't need to do that. It's more of this is just this data I needed to gather for my back end, and it takes up so little real estate on the physical cards themselves that I'm just added it. So
right,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. So the process was. This is kind of behind the scenes of how I worked. What we're looking at right now, these aren't the final cards. These are me looking at the artwork and identifying the important colors. And then from there, we've got to find a way to pull this into the actual formatting and the final versions of the colors, which I can show you as the final formats here in a little bit. But I just wanted to kind of showcase this process. And so I go through, and one of the things that I learned is that certain colors that I used for the swatches aren't necessarily the exact tone that's used most often of that color in the artwork.
Okay.
The reason why is for balance. If you were to take these 5 colors and paint a model with these 5 colors, by the way, I'm looking forward to doing that with this one. Well, with most of them, but this one I really, really like. But if you were to just take the exact paints on the back, for example, there's 3, I give you 3 paint options for each of these color swatches from 3 different brands. And so if you're like, okay, I've got the full Army Painter Fanatics range, I'm going to pick the 5 colors in the Army Painters Fanatics range that are the matches that John says on these. If you do that and you don't want to do a lot of mixing and you don't want to add a lot of white or black to the paint to desaturate and to brighten and that kind of thing, there needs to be a level of balance in the 5 colors that I give you. So I can't have all 5 colors be really dark, and I can't have all 5 colors be really, really light. So what that led to is, even though, for example, on this one, the second to top, this yellowish orange, actually much of the region here, it's actually quite a bit brighter than we see here. But we also have this kind of pale sand kind of color here that's used up in this weird, I think that's a brain up at the top. I don't know exactly what that is.
Something like that.
Sure. This felt very kind of like 40K chaos, this artwork. That's why I thought it was a good fit. But if I did really light yellow with this pale sand, they would be 2 very similar, very bright colors. So I pulled down this swatch to be a bit more saturated, show a little bit more of the tone. So there's a bit of that back and forth work on some of these.
So if I buy one of the decks, does it come with the hex grid, or is that an online resource that's tied?
Yep. It's on the cards as well. Yep. On the back of the cards. In fact, maybe that's if you give me a second, I'll swap over to the other
Dude,
thing.
that first image you had of the helmet with the old school bubble, like I just want that on a t-shirt.
Yes. Well, on each of the cards on the back, it has the artist's name. And then on my website, I have a full page featuring all the artists that are on the deck of many colors, along with links to their socials. So you can find them.
Awesome.
You can follow them. You can see what other awesome artwork that they do. And if you want to commission a t-shirt from them, I mean, I can lead you to that, but I can't make the shirt for you exactly. All right. So I'm going to get to the next thing here, and feel free if there's other questions while I do this. Okay. That's the one I want to share. Yeah, it's I would say so. There's 100 cards, so 2 decks of 50. They each come in their separate decks, so you can buy just the sci-fi if that just would interest you, just the fantasy, that just would interest you. You can buy them together as a pack, and you save a little money if you do that. But throughout that, so there's 100 artworks. Each artwork has 5 color swatches on it. Each color swatch has 3 sample paints. So I had to hand selected 1,500 paints for this project. And all of my paints are on wall racks all around me. And so it is a very like tangible, real world, physical process of me looking and me checking and me doing a swatch, on my hand or on a piece of plastic card or on a prime Space Marine and double checking. And the true thing is that, okay, it says I'm sharing, but I don't know if you guys can see it yet.
Oh, sorry.
No, not yet.
Oh,
there we go.
Oh, I needed Dave's approval.
No, yeah, I've got an add to stage thing. So,
So yeah, here's an example of the back of the card, and here you can see all the wonderful border work that Mary did. And so I had 1,500 paints to pick, and I can tell you, by about paint 800, I could probably close my eyes and pick the right paint off of my wall without looking at it, because I knew exactly where everything was. And it was like, I don't want to say that as a brag that I know paints all that well. It was just like so many times I felt like it wasn't like, okay, it's that bluish green that you see on top there. I'd go grab the right color. No, it was back and forth 6 times to find the right color, to find which ones were the closest. And truthfully, I never picked the miniature paint first. The miniature paint was always the best fit for the swatches, but you're not always going to get 100% accurate. That exact color comes in a bottle. So what I found was most often you get pretty darn close, because I work through, I can even tell you the brands that are shown throughout this project. So there's Army Painter Fanatics. There's Monument Pro Acryl paints. There's the new P3 paints. There's AK 3rd Gen paints, and there's 2 thin coats paints. So there's 5 different brands here. And first of all, working with those companies has all been great. I've had nothing but good interactions, relationships with them. I use their paints all the time. Wanted to use them here. But between those 5 brands, you'd think I'd find an exact color every single time. You can get pretty close most times. But what I found that I ended up getting better at was looking at a color and knowing I did not have a perfect match, and trying to determine by looking at the color swatch what's most important. What's the most important feature of this swatch of paint?
right.
So for example, that second one down on this picture we're looking at the screen.
Yeah.
It's a very ruddy, warm red brown. Okay. So that warmth in the redness in the brown is more important than how bright or dark it is. So I could find a mid-tone brown that is the right mid-tone as this, but it's not warm enough. So if I have to make a concession, I'm going to lean into what I think is most important in how that color works within the harmony of the full artwork. In the warmth of this brown, and I can go down to the full artwork here to show you, the warmth of that brown is what really matters. So some cards are like this, where they're what you call landscape mode, where it's a little bit back it out just a little bit. So the color swatches are on the side like that. And some are like our good Goblin on Boar friend here, where, you know, it's a portrait mode, and then the color swatches are on the bottom, occasionally on the top too. It's like I reformatted to fit the artwork first. So what feels most cohesive to showcase what we need in the artwork. So that's that. And then of course you can see on the back. So that top line there is the hex code. And then below that are the 3 examples of that color. And then at the very, very bottom in small font, you can see artist, Rakasha Demon. That is, she chose to go by her online handle. We were always given an option, whether they wanted to go by their regular name or how they're known online or however they wanted to be found. So that's a interesting tidbit there.
No, that's cool. I think
that's awesome, man. It's such a cool, not only is it such a cool idea, but you really handled it the right way. Like working with artists and working with traditional artists and not traditional artists, working with artists that are actually doing the artwork and then paying them for their artwork and then giving them credit for their artwork and then listing them for their artwork. Like that's like seriously well done. Like we have a ton of friends in the art community and we're always hearing nightmares about how like, oh, I got laid off from this gig and they had a bunch of AI. Like we've had Alan on before, and Alan will be the first to jump up and be like, Jacques Hughes, when people are using like digital art or AI, not digital art, it's AI specifically. So yeah, like just well done, truly.
It is I feel like it feels like we've been inundated, but I feel like we're just at the tip of the iceberg, and the way we approach it, the decisions we make and the statements we have now are what matter the most, because that's what's going to lead the snowball down the hill one way or the other. And so I think it's important that specifically in the realm of art, that if we want new art to be made, we need artists to make it. Yeah. If we want something that's an amalgamation of everything, something that's already been made, well, that's what AI does, but it doesn't come up with anything new. So how do we try to do that? And that is to showcase and to celebrate, you know, artists.
It's really funny too. Like you were talking about how you talk to some artists and they were like, oh, you know, I did it all myself. Alan and I hang out a lot at shows, and we talk pretty regularly, a couple times a week. And he does a lot of digital art, and he has for a long time. That's his medium. And he's gotten him and a bunch of his friends who also do that same kind of art. They are so good at just looking at something and going, that's AI. And I'm like, how can you tell? And he goes, it's just, he's like, it's hard to describe. He goes, but there's like 6 or 7 tells that AI art just does. He's like, and if you work with a digital medium and you know what those transitions and those little things look like, it's really easy to just go, yeah, okay, that's this. It's like the example he used after we've hung out and I'm starting to get him into painting now is he's like, you know how you can look at stuff and go, that's airbrush? He goes, it's like that. He goes, so like when we look at something right away, I can go, that's AI. That's not, someone didn't do that digitally.
Yeah. That's a pretty good hobbyist understanding of looking at something and being like, yeah, I can tell that's airbrush.
I can see the tool that was used for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a question as we're going through looking at these cards, and also going back and looking at the original 6 sort of example cards, demo cards that you did. The schemes on these, I think, I mean, you spoke about it when you were talking about not picking 5 dark swatches or 5 light swatches. And I think obviously you were working with some art that you liked, you thought was very evocative art. Kind of ended up with some very, very similar groupings. Did you consciously go through for the full set? You said that you aren't using any of these, but also when you were going through and I guess picking art or thinking about art or the swatch collection you would pull from each piece, go through and go, okay, I want to have 10 that are blue forward, 10 that are green forward, that kind of thing? Or was it just a completely random?
That's a really good question. And I found a way, and it took me a while to get there. It was the question that I had for myself early on. and I just kept putting it off because I'm like, I can't wrap my brain around the correct way to do this.
Right.
So instead I focused on finding artists and examples of artworks that I just loved, that I knew would be good fits.
Yep.
And then it was a chicken and an egg situation, because if I go in with my example swatches of like, okay, here's 100 color schemes that I want to hit more or less, doesn't have to be exactly, but these are the 100 different examples. And I want to make sure if I can get these mostly lined up, that'll have a wonderful array. But then I'm so restricted on like, I really love these 5 artworks, but they didn't fit in my 100 things, so I can't use them. So I was like, well, I can't really go that way. But if I go just pick the artwork I want, I'm going to be, biased towards the colors or maybe color palettes that I really like. And then there's going to be too much sameness.
Right.
What the final decision ended up being, and the way that I ended up approaching this, was I got a catalog of, I had about 300 works of art.
Okay.
And I narrowed it down by my must-haves. So, and one thing, side note, one thing people ask me is like, okay, but it's 2 separate decks. Does that mean there's basically like 50 color schemes, but they're mostly the same from one deck to the another?
Right.
And it's a great question.
Yep.
I worked this as if it was one large project. So 100 unique color schemes. So if someone gets both decks, they are going to get a unique one, no matter which color from which card from which deck they pull from. So I ended up making this giant like digital chart that was basically based off of a color wheel. And whenever I would add a artwork that was going to be in the final 100, I would place it based on its primary like focal colors on a color wheel on the chart. So I made a giant chart and I would put all the little pictures of the arts there. And how that really helped me is I could see the gaps. I could see wedges that occurred that I didn't have really warm orange and peachy tones that went into the red scheme. I had some maybe that then they used a little bit more yellow, and I found some gaps. And then it helped me narrow down, if I went from 50 art, what are my artworks? What are my last 50? What are make sure the gaps that I hit? And then colors, schemes that had similar, maybe like primary themes based on looking at the artwork. How were their secondary schemes different? So they're both very blue forward pieces, but this one used a bunch of purples and this one used a bunch of kind of complementary greens and kind of seafoam colors. So they feel very different, right? And anytime that I would find schemes that were close, I would look at them side by side and say, are they too close? And I would say many, but a good number of times I would cut a piece based solely on it's too close. I want to have something that's different. So it's, you say that this basically working hard on this being I guess a part-time job, give or take 20 to 30 hours a week for the last 12 months. That's where a lot of those hours go.
Leave it to nerds, especially like the more into the type A category we get, to sit down and be like, well, if I'm going to do this, like I got to make sure that I do it the right way. And I got to make sure all the bases are covered. Like, I love it. Jez said, being colorblind, he paints in really safe and obvious schemes, but he'd really like to be more painterly and arty. And these cards will let him do that. It's a really great idea.
I've the amount of people that have reached out, and thank you, Jez, for saying that have had some form of that same kind of reaction or kind of comment is a large amount of people, way more than I thought. I thought I heard somewhere recently that upwards of 40% of adult males are green-red colorblind. So I'm like, whoa, okay, that's a massive amount, and not all of them even know it. So who knows? Me, I've been painting all this time. And you can just say, well, my colors are stinky. Well, just say you were colorblind. And then.
Yeah. You really think you're painting Dark Angels and actually you're working on a Blood Angels army.
Right. Yeah. It says Angels in the name. You're still good.
They were in the same original codex.
Exactly. Going back to what we touched on a little bit earlier about the John Blanche color set from the Army Painter. Here's a piece by Martin that these paints are directly out of that John Blanche scheme. Like, you can see that I don't think Martin intended for this piece of artwork to really use that Blanche color scheme, but man, does it feel like it. And then I can literally go over to my wall right now and pick off 5 Army Painter colors from that John Blanche set that are almost these exact 5 colors. So it's pretty awesome how that works out. It's kind of those happy kind of things. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. So it works. It works.
Yeah. No, that's great. This particular piece from Martin is the piece he did as a potential alternate cover for the 28 collected book.
Mm-hmm.
And we turned it into a gatefold in the book. But yeah, a couple of months ago, he sent me a message and said, "Hey Dave, would there be any problems if somebody else has asked if they can use this artwork? Would there be any problems with me doing that? Like copyright wise?" Like, nope, not at all. Not at all. Well, I said, that's awesome. Have a lot of fun with it, whatever it happens to be. But it's super cool that it turns out to be this project.
Wow. Oh, so you didn't know that this is where it was?
I didn't know this was where it was going. No, man.
Oh. Well, I appreciate you saying yes to that, because I had a lot of other examples of wanting to do that where something was done on a commission work for someone else or for a different IP or something, and I got the big no. So I appreciate that I got one yes from you, Dave.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, we can look real quickly at the now this is just in 2 dimensions, but here's give you an idea of what the box is going to look like.
Excellent.
So it is there's a matte velvet cardboard box, and it actually slides open. So it's got a bottom piece, which is this over here, and then it has the top piece that pulls off. So you just slide it off like that, and then inside, when you pull the lid off, then the cards are sticking out a little bit, so about a 1/2 inch. So you can just pull the decks out like that. And I purposely had them designed like a book. So you have the front cover, you have the spine of the book, and then you have the back cover. So if you wanted them all lined up in your painting desk or against a shelf or whatever, you have them all spine up, and then you can see which deck it is. And then you can just grab if you want, and do it that way. So yeah, the whole design and figuring out the logo and all that kind of stuff, all kind of take its time. And then I could not help myself but have Slay the Gray on the inside. When you open that box up, you gotta put that in there. So yeah.
Well, are they going to be the same size as the samples that we saw at Nova?
Yes, they are the same dimensions. That's a great example. That's a great question. Yeah, they are tarot card sized. And so there's a going through this from the business side that I learned kind of kicking and screaming is there are certain things that I'm kind of conformed to. I couldn't just do whatever I want and then have a company make them without it costing like, oh yeah, I could do these, but it's going to cost somebody $170 a deck. And I'm like, well, okay, that's not worthy. People aren't going to buy those. But the tarot card size is used enough by these printers that's already kind of settings or whatever on their machines and how they run these cards through and that kind of thing that they can use.
Stamp.
Yes. Yes. That reminds me of something that I ran into with this. So there's different kinds of foiling I learned. There's just print on foiling. So the samples that I gave out at Nova are print on foiling, which just means instead of the thing going on there and printing a color, it prints that foiling. And then there's stamp foiling, which actually requires metal molds that they make out of, I think, steel. And they ink them just like an old time printing press with that, and they're physically stamped down. And so there's a slight bit of texture, a slight bit of feel to them, and they're much more expensive. And that's what these are going to be. They're the more expensive ones because the physical feel of just this slight perforation, there's just an extra bit of oomph to it, an extra bit of shine. And I was just like, well, yeah, we got to do this. I want them to be the coolest thing I can make them be. And so that we're going to do that. The downside of that I learned though, is every single format that you're using foil with, you have to pay for the plate to be made for that. So that's for the box, this whole front, all the boxes, everything's in foil. So there's no actual ink on the boxes other than this little thing in white at the bottom, at the underside of the box that says like, don't eat these and not for children and stuff like that. Everything here on sci-fi, it's all in silver. In fantasy, it's all in gold. So the front of the box is a plate. This side is a plate. The back is a plate. The inside is a plate. And then for every different deck, I zoomed way too much here. So the front of the not only the front of the fantasy one is a plate and the back of the fantasy one is a plate, but
Yeah.
whenever I did a different version where these
they're in a different position.
where the swatches in a different position, that's a different plate because each swatch is bordered in foil. So
Right.
I learned that. So I spent many thousands of dollars to make those plates.
That's a lot of fun.
But worth it. I think it's worth it. I got samples where I got to I closed my eyes and I felt the difference between the printed on and the not. And I'm just like, oh yeah, it's just different. It just hits different. And I find if you have something physical, we're dealing with a physical hobby here. We're painting physical things. We're creating physical 3D art with paintbrushes or airbrushes and our models. And working with something physical and having a real world example, to me, I felt like it was easier to use. I felt more apt to use it. And I felt like I got more of a real-time feedback loop in understanding, even putting the swatch right next to my model and seeing how it worked. It was just a fun experiment. And I found like I used it more rather than, I had this digital PDF and I could scroll through the digital PDF on my phone or my screen. I just felt like some physical nature was important. And so if there's some physical tactile response to the cards, that felt like it was the right decision to make.
It's that thing we always say it, Jake and I always say, is that everything we do is it's a tactile hobby.
Yeah.
You're picking miniatures up, you're sticking them together, you're using tools. We do it because we love it.
Right.
If we didn't love touching things with our fingers, we wouldn't be in it.
The power could go off tomorrow forever, and it just would mean that Dave and I would not do a show. That is literally would not affect my hobby in the least.
Yep,
right,
absolutely. Or we'd have to restrict our hobby time to during the day, but
daylight hours, right?
Daylight hours,
yeah, I'd have to move.
Candles are for, man. I'm good.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, the candlelight wattage that our bulbs are still measured by. Now we would just need to translate that to actual candlelight.
Yeah, I'd have like a giant crazy candelabra.
I would be a little bit worried about having 6,000 candles, particularly in this basement. But yeah. No, I think in the feel that you've got on the sample cards from Nova is great. Yeah, as I say, that velvet feel, but having that stamp, having that sort of indent, but debossing, I guess, going to be even better. Awesome.
Yeah, I will say a little bit behind the scenes of some of the more I want to be just realistically frustrating parts of this project. It's amazing to work with real artists. It is also incredibly frustrating because if you're an artist, you have the tendency to be a little bit flighty, a little bit go by where your passion lies and where you're driven or what project you're working on. I can relate to that. I do not love to sit and respond to people's emails. But when I'm the guy that's sending out the email saying, please, can we talk? Can I use your artwork? There's a lot of hurry up and wait and hope that they respond and let me use their artwork because I found that if I was this is serious, I want to pay you. Here's examples of what it looks like, right? And I'd send pictures of the samples that I printed. That helped me a lot too, because I don't look like the scammer or whatever. And here's the physical things and how I want to use it. Who is our audience? Who is this for? This is for miniature artists and that kind of thing. And surprising amount of artists that agreed to be a part of this either are very aware of this hobby or paint themselves. So. Right. So that's pretty cool. So I was like, oh man, so make some new friends that paint miniatures. So a good example of one. Where can I find him? I can't remember where his artwork is in the list, but that's not him. But this is one of my favorite works in the whole series. Yeah, there's some really really rad stuff. But yeah, one of that is a miniature painter. This gentleman right here. He paints miniatures too, just like us. So, yeah. So, okay, I bet you're probably pretty good.
I bet. Yeah, there's something very, very Brom about that,
right?
It might be that background, the texture, and
that use of that really pale, sickly green as that background. You know, at first, if you don't look at the swatch, you just kind of glance at this piece, that background doesn't necessarily read as green to the eye. It reads more yellow. But like a closer look, and actually the warmth, especially in the orange in her face, really then accentuates the use of the cold and the warm contrast stuff. So very cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. There we go. Kat said, "Oh Lordy B, as someone who had an artist brother, I so understand that comment. I constantly battled between praising him and wanting to smack him." He was talking about the Fly the Artist.
Yes. I mean, originally I wanted everyone that ordered these decks or for them to be available for purchase on my website to be able to get to you by Christmas. That was my goal. And I had enough of a runway that I felt very confident in that. And then I had to wrangle 100 cats that were 100 artists. So that pushed back my timeline a little bit. And then I thought too, again, naive, my first time in doing this.
Yeah.
I thought that once I got my printer, I sent them a massive check to print all these off, then they would just start. And then, you know, the actual printing, even if you print thousands of something, doesn't take that long for these big companies. But I didn't realize that they had like a backlog. And so that's kind of my final hurdle. But the good news is I originally wanted them to be out in people's hands by the holidays. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, but we're on track to be still in Q1 2026. I'm hoping everyone will get them by end of January. That's my hope, if not shortly after that. So
Nice.
Not too far. And the way I look at it this way, I just hit my 12-month from really starting a lot of hours in this project. And if I would have started a Kickstarter, I would have had to start the Kickstarter when I had enough work, which would have been probably around Nova time.
Yep.
And the turnaround time from the Kickstarter funding until people getting stuff in hand would have been, I think, a lot longer than it would be for me just to be like, I'm just going to try to do it. And this is all self-funded. Whatever money that I had that I could afford to put in from YouTube, I did that on the front end and invested all that in myself because I was like, well, I really want this to be real. And if it ends up being that just me and a handful of my friends get them and that I learned my lesson, that's great. But the response has been pretty phenomenal. I'm pretty kind of overwhelmed by the response of people that are interested in these and have pre-ordered them. So
we talked about that at the start. Did you want to? Yeah, before we came on, I asked John how many had been pre-ordered. Did you want to reveal that number?
Sure. Just recently, we cracked 10,000 decks have been pre-ordered.
That's awesome.
Which is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Alan said he just shared it on the Army Painter on all their stuff.
Oh, I appreciate that, Alan. That means a lot. Yeah, I was like, what I was telling Dave, I was like, when going into this, I was like, if I get between 500 and 1,000 pre-ordered, then I had my wish list of the highest, fanciest versions. Basically, I'm going through the printer that makes all like a lot of the high-end games that we play. So they make like what's the really crude card game? Why am I blanking on the name of it? I don't remember.
It'll come to you.
It'll come to me. I'm sure somebody in the chat can think of this. It's they're black and white cards, and
Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity. Yes. Thank you. I knew we'd get there. Cards Against Humanity. Thank you, Maya, as well. It's the printer that makes Cards Against Humanity. They make a lot of like the high-end board game, the cardboard and the cardstock and all that kind of stuff. So they have a lot of experience with big projects and high-end stuff. And so I went on their website and I put every slider for quality as far to the right as possible. And card thickness, like the extra velvet mats, the whatever, as high as it could go. And I was like, if I get between 500 and 1,000, I can afford to make the best possible version. And so we got there, and it's just all gravy from here. We're gonna do that, and then I put extra on the on the boxes. So those are going to be special made too, and so all that kind of stuff. So it's just all going back into this being something that I want people to have on their painting desk and want to use, and so that's it. And it's I mean, I already have thoughts, I have plans, I have spreadsheets that I'm worked on of decks 3 and 4. So what those would look like. So we're gonna explore different themes within our hobby that are often seen, that we love, that we use, that we paint, the games that we play, factions that lean into one kind of a thing. You know, starts with G, ends with dark. You may have heard of it. There may be decks that are real heavy into that. So I've already have my plans of future decks. So if people want to continue, again, that's why I went with kind of like the book design on the boxes. So as the collection expands, you can slide them up next to each other if you decide to get more, or you can just get one and just be happy with that too, or get none, I guess.
Yeah. That's fantastic. A question I've got, and this might be my final question, because you've answered a lot of the others, is with if you were to put 5 paints in front of somebody and say these 5 paints are going to work well together, you can get a great color scheme. You can probably get several great color schemes out of these.
Yep.
A lot of that is going to be balance, right? The great
Right.
color scheme is going to come when you have a certain amount of balance. Not all of you don't want to paint 20% of your model with each color.
Right.
Or maybe you do.
Or maybe you do.
Maybe you do.
There's a reason why Space Marines have 1 torso, 2 arms, and 2 legs. Just saying.
Right.
This definitely makes me want to like get a whole bunch of us in the room, like get the whole factory team together, and we all draw a card, and you have to like make up a Space Marine chapter like that. Like that would just be fun. Like that'd be a fun, like, hey, let's waste a couple of hours. Like we have a bunch of Prime Marines, like everybody make up a chapter based on what you draw. Like that would be super fun.
Jake, painting pictures is never a waste of time.
Never.
But I mean, like you know how I paint. I don't paint like that.
That's true. No, I think that'd be an awesome idea. I think it's something that that I love to do with the Build Paint Play community as well. When they're released, we'll run a competition. Get ready to pick a card, pick a scheme, paint a model, and present that on the Facebook page, or send it to us through Instagram or whatever. And then maybe we can get John back on to pick a winner.
Oh yeah, I'd love to dig through them. Dave and I have had some experience working together and doing some model evaluation and judging and that kind of stuff, and that was a lot of fun. I think we could do that again. Absolutely.
Nice.
I'm
here for it.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
But it's a good point that you said, Dave, of like understanding the balance between colors, and there's not that there's a wrong answer.
Yep.
But I think sometimes in this hobby, the first step is always the most difficult. Like the first brush stroke on a model is the hardest brush stroke. The first model in an army is the hardest model, and so on and so forth. Like that is it. And so looking at this as a tool of like, okay, one, I don't have to stress about color choice because I'm grabbing a card, could be random, could be which one speaks to me that day. And number two, looking at the artwork for inspiration, seeing how they use the colors to balance and being like, okay, so the one that's on the screen right now, that really light pink, like that draws my eye there. So maybe I use that towards the model's face or something important on the model, but it's not in a lot of places. That dark color is all over the place, but looks how they mixed a bit of that dark color with the green in some spots, and they mixed that dark color with the orange in some spots, but that color really kind of ties the whole model together. And this other thing is that my goal is that this opens up the lane for people to just being open to mixing your paints a little bit, because when you're restricted with just 5 colors, you actually have way more colors than that if you just mix them a little bit, but you don't have to. You don't have to start that way. You can paint a Space Marine where these are the 5 colors, and which are the ones that are the accent colors for his belts, pouches, and whatever other crap, and which are his 2 main core colors. Like you can do either way, and they're not wrong, but it's to kind of show you to push you a little bit out of that comfort zone, so that first step isn't as uncomfortable the next time you paint one, and the time after that, and before you know it, you turn it to me, where you just slop a whole bunch of weird colors on a bunch of Nurgle models, and who knows what the hell turns out at the end from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, one of
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, this artist is so cool. Like the use of it is very sci-fi theme, but there's a bit of eeriness to it, and his use of color is really nice, and the illustrative style is so different as well. I've got, I think, 3 or 4 pieces by this artist in the sci-fi deck.
Yeah.
It's one thing I didn't bring up. So there's 100 works of art. There are not 100 artists. I think there's about 60
Right.
artists, somewhere between 60 and 70. That like I couldn't just choose one work of art. I had to, like, I need this one and this one and this one and this one. So, but usually what I do is when especially my final culling, I called it the final culling, was about 150 works of art down to 100. I then, in that final culling, I didn't cut any artist out. It was then cutting down multiples to get to the 100, because
Right.
I wanted to keep this, a wide variety of styles too in use of color, because different artists use color in different ways. Even if an artist uses different color schemes in their work, there is a language. It's really an interesting thing, and sometimes you see that in miniature painters. They use language through paints they use often. They're kind of go-to paints.
Right.
And I find that's much more prevalent, I think, in traditional 2D art than we see in miniature painting. But it's, it still is there sometimes. So I wanted to make sure that variety was there, as the similar tones are used. Oftentimes they use the same maybe 3 or 4 tones in just about every work, but then they have a couple of accent colors. And so
Right.
I wanted enough variety there.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Should we have a look at a couple of others? And then I've got a picture here that I want to bring up. It's from a video you did, I think, when you launched the pre-order, with the Leagues of Votan guy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That looks like it could be Alan's art.
Huh?
Yep.
That's really cool.
It is Aaron Nakahara. So not Alan, but yeah.
Yeah.
This felt very like 80s sci-fi kind of a vibe, that backlit.
Yeah.
I really dig it.
There's a little bit of smoke machine going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
All right. So yeah, like I said, this is the first time that I've actually shown these to anyone to see what the artwork looks like, and see what some of the the breakdown of the palettes and how that's used and that kind of thing. So it's a bit of a nerve-wracking moment, if I'm honest, guys, because otherwise it's just mostly been me staring at stuff. And the project manager that I work with, he does not paint miniatures at all. So I'm kind of having to. He does have a good artistic eye to help with formatting and the kind of things that I am maybe not as good at. But yeah, it's a lot of first time outside eyes looking on some of this stuff.
I would just say, so far there hasn't been anything to give pause.
Okay. All right.
I agree.
It's all great. It's fantastic.
All right.
I think, yeah.
Okay. All right. I can stop sharing. I think that's what you were alluding to.
No.
No, I mean, dude, I'd look at these for the next like 3 or 4 hours. Like not only is it such a cool project for us and our community, it's also like, even people were saying in the chat, they're also just like super cool, like art pieces. Like they're just like nice to look at. So
oh yeah, I never thought about that, but I'm like, oh, that would be kind of cool if you did something and use them like you frame them in like a shadow box or something like that. Yeah, because some of them are just, I really like. And I've actually reached out to the artists about making larger prints, because I stare at them so much and I really like them, that I think that's something that's pretty cool. So hopefully if people like them and they want to do that, they reach out directly to the artists. Or in a lot of these artists, they have their own websites with stores and stuff where they sell prints and things. So it's like, that's great. Find them.
Absolutely.
There's one of Dave's favorite colors right there, ice yellow.
Oh yeah. Yep. Ice yellow is great. But yeah, so there is a video where you can go and check out Jon painting this particular guy, using this and then talking through that process, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it worked out well. That video did perform very well on YouTube, which was kind of ran in kind of parallel to the pre-orders going live. That helped us jump off to a big lead right there, and people finding out about it. I was shocked how many people really adhered to that. I'm very excited because when I get my full deck sample in hand, basically, that they'll send me, they'll print everything once, and they'll be like, this is your final quality assurance test of everything, to go to print on printing however many that I'm going to have done. Then I can start doing more of these. Like, so I'll have more videos of the full decks in hand. You can see all that and show how these artworks, I can do the same thing. But yeah, this was kind of not at all how I would ever see myself paint a Leagues of Votann model. Like, I just would not have thought to do that. And to see this scheme that feels like this is a very grim, dark, artwork. It's very grim, dark inspired. It fits obviously with Warhammer, but in my head didn't necessarily fit with the faction. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it does. It's it really works.
Absolutely,
I like it. Yeah, they read almost like it's like a Fire Slayer's paint scheme on a Votann. So, but it works. Like, I mean, dwarves are going to dwarf, right? I mean,
right.
it works really well. And also, like, to be fair, I mean, if we're being real here, you have a great eye for color and where to implement it to get the best kind of usage. And I think that's really apparent here. So, but in terms of how the tool is designed, I think this is a really cool tool that anybody could get. You could hand this to a new painter and go, hey, you're brand new, you've never painted a model, I don't know what to paint it. Here's your palette. It's limited palette. Like, just do whatever you want. There's no wrong way to paint it. Like,
right.
So I think that this is a cool tool for like wherever you are on like the sort of the skill line, in terms of like, you're brand new, it's your first miniature versus, like, we could give these to Roman Lepat and I'm sure he would love these.
Oh yeah. I mean,
so
yeah, that man could paint with Crayola and he would be fine. Yeah. So I think he would. I
could give him a bunch of condiments out of the fridge, and I'm sure he could make some kind
of Absolutely. Yeah, super cool.
He's like, well, this I did with yellow mustard, but this was with a brown mustard, and what I did was I blended them. Like,
yeah,
this one was with the anyway. I know.
He's like, oh, and this one, that's ketchup.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, John, for running us through the whole deck of colors, the process, I guess the ups and downs of spending the last 18 months contacting artists and trying to pay them for their work.
I imagine John is like what's his name from It's Always Sunny, with like, he's got the whole all the
Oh man, I could show you Excel spread or like my Google spreadsheets of the color coding of the where I'm at in conversations and waiting to hear back, and did I get okays? Did they sign the contract? Did they confirm, sign off that no AI was used in any capacity in the making of these arts? Did they like blah blah blah? Did they get me their payment information? That's the thing that's the craziest of all this. Some of the things that took the longest were to get them, for me to pay them. I was like, let me give you money, please. That's what I'm trying to do, is to pay you. And I mean, bless them. They're so wrapped up in everything else. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. Okay. But I did get everybody paid.
That's exactly.
I did get everybody paid.
That's the toughest part sometimes. But no, super cool. So the next part of the show, John, is where we take a look at minis from our Facebook community, BuildPaintPlay community group page. You want to hang around for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep. Excellent. I now press some buttons and we get everything. Okay, here we go. First up is Brendan Bell. Brendan's working on as part of a 40K team tournament Team Handsome. They've been playing in the team tournament at Adepticon for ages, but this year they're running Custodes, and he's trying to get a bit of variety in his force, messing around with some versions. So,
oh yeah, I like that right foot forward on the one on the left. There's a little more drama in that pose.
Yeah, yep. a lot of striding going on. It's one of those things like you don't need a lot of Custodes models in an army, but when you've got 4,000 points of them, it's nice to have each one.
I mean, that's only like 19 models.
True. But it's nice to have 19 different models.
What? So I've never used red stuff.
So yeah, this is a putty I haven't used it at all before. I'm not sure where Brendan got it from, but
I think that's just wax lips from the 80s. You know, you'd chew on them, the wax, and then you just stick it on the mouth. I'm pretty sure that's all
he had. It's all he had. He's like, I'm sure this is fine.
I've got a whole bunch of mini baby bells.
Yeah, it's the same thing, same product.
Love me some cheese, but no, Brendan, it's coming along nicely.
Unfortunately, I think the younger viewers are as over their head that I aged myself that much to make a wax lips reference. But
so see, kids, in the late 1900s.
Fantastic. Moving on, Chris Gorka.
Chris killing it as usual.
So yeah, this beautiful Imperial Fist Tech Marine.
I think this is part of the commission he's doing for the guy at my store.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Super smooth, like super satisfying to look at. Yeah, the nice gradients with you know, you can tell that if you're doing a commission, like you got to keep moving too. You can't put all your love, sweat, and tears into single model, but like he put his attention in the right places. So
he's really good at like making everything kind of pop, and then using some, like I love the crisp line down the edge of the axe.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Defining those edges is a sad case of the reality of what really makes models work at this scale, is understanding where to really enhance the edges, because these things are so small. Even when we zoom in on them like this and we get to see all the imperfections, it's still very, very clean and very smooth. So very well done.
Nice work, Chris. Beautiful. Some more of the Imperial Fists.
That yellow looks great.
Mm-hmm.
People fear yellow. I don't get it. It's not any. It's just like painting any other color. You just got to think of it the same way.
Yeah, working through it carefully.
I love the new Indominus Terminators are so nice. I love how big they are. They're so chonky. There's so much real estate on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Head to the Facebook group to check it out, because Chris has some of the photos of the individual Terminators. And you can see it. They're looking great. And next up as well, Chris is working on. Damn it! I knew it. It was there. It was in my head.
It's a Star Wars. It's a Star Wars
thing.
Got it. We got there. Yeah, we got it.
What is it? It's Echo. No, it's not Echo Squad. It's I can't remember.
I don't know. But four clone troopers in
Delta Squad. It's Delta Squad.
There we go. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, I mean these models are difficult to paint because there's nowhere to hide. Like they're simplistic in a way that makes it overtly difficult, that you don't necessarily know on first glance. And being bold in the colors, and especially separate colors like that green all through his torso and stuff, like it can get away from you easily. But these read really well, and the different plates are well defined. On that white, you see a nice variance while still reading as white. Really good.
The guy on the right is basically just like, what if you painted a stormtrooper like a White Scar?
Yeah.
I was thinking of the white orcs in Lord of the Rings. You just got the
he's got the red handprint.
Yeah, handprint.
Yeah, they look great though.
Yep. Nice work, Chris. The other two are on the Facebook group. You can check them out. Next up, Chris Jakes is.
Yikes! There's a bunch of Votan for you.
Yep. He hasn't painted for ages, but he has decided to go all in on Votan.
All in is an understatement. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are Dave? You play Votan. What are the weird artillery things on the right?
So they're the big mole mortars. I can't remember what they're called, but they're the new Votan pieces. I haven't got any yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen those like on the table yet, but
yeah. But he said he also has a couple of Sagittars and a Hecaton Land Fortress to go along with these. But yeah. On the group, I said, drop me a line. We'll talk about how to paint Votan quickly.
Yeah, I think I've painted 3 Votan models. Obviously, we saw one of them. Every time I do it, I very much enjoy them, but I would love to hear that too. I do not know how to paint those suckers quickly. They are, they have a lot of really cool details on them. That's for sure.
Yep. You definitely got to start with a couple of undersprays.
Yeah.
Colored undersprays. You got to get your bulk color down first for sure.
He's at a bunch of steel jacks too.
Yep. He does, and he's got a whole bunch of Thunderkin in there. Definitely good stuff. Excellent. Nice work, Chris. And that all done. Sulin.
Killing it as usual.
Wow.
Yep. Doing some awesome work on this Kingdom Death mini.
I love the use of color shifts throughout the cloth, where it feels like a cool gray, a very light cool gray towards white, but there's a lot of color variation in there, and that's hard to get that subtlety and still make it feel like it reads as a singular surface, a singular fabric.
Yeah, there's
really cool
little bits of purple through here and some green,
and
some of that bounce light from the ground, as you were talking before.
He's got some of that bounce light on the club as well. There's like the little purple stripes.
Yeah.
These models are now, they've gotten larger they've had the scale creep Kingdom Death has over the years, much like every other game we play, but they're still they're true scale. So they're deceptively difficult to paint because of like the hands are not like the hands of a Games Workshop model. Like it's really, really small. The features on the face are really kind of subtle, and you got to have a extra precision with your brush to be able to really define those and make those pop. Like that face is gorgeous. So
I wish their stuff was easier to support. Like as a store, as a retailer, I approached this guy at Gen Con a couple years ago. I've talked to him twice, and I was like, hey, like I'd love to stock your game. Is there a way to do that? And the guy like did not understand what I was asking him. And he was like, well, I can sell you some copies. And I was like, no. I want to buy them from you at wholesale so I can stock them. And he was like, oh yeah, we don't really do that. And I was like, how do people buy your game? And he's like, they buy it off the website, what's in its stock, or they can buy it from me at Gen Con. And I was like, yes, I want to help it be more than that. Like, how do we do that? And he was like, just didn't get it. I was like, okay, never mind, forget it.
He is an interesting character. Yeah, I know Adam fairly well. And that is your assessment is he's very flighty. Sometimes he's very business and he's very focused, and other times he's kind of all over the place, and that artistic side of him is there. And yeah, I get that.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's it too. I bought them all. That's why you can't have any. I bought them all.
So awesome.
He found some original Forge World versions.
Wow.
Yep. John's going through and bringing out all of his old Forge World resin.
Oh man, I appreciate anyone that's willing to go back into the pile of shame and be like, all right, today is the day.
Today's the day that all the gray resin gets slayed.
Yeah.
But so he's painted up a squad of these mortars, which look cool, and the basically the twin heavy stubber set.
Awesome.
This is one of my favorite in the set when it came out.
Holding it by the kicks, it's just awesome.
Yeah, two guys just pulling along, running, just looks fantastic.
Yeah,
but
great.
Yeah, John's been busting out these guys pretty quickly. We saw his Gorgon last week. I'm sure he's got quite a few more to come. But yeah, coming on nicely, John. Good. Josh Sawyer was quite excited that he got his Prussians finished up for Trench Crusade.
Love that big mechanized guy.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing as well is, so his Prussians here aren't the plastics from Trench Crusade, the Factory Fortress plastics. They're all modified from something else. I don't know where those base legs are from, but I'm pretty sure this hand is these arms here are from a Mordheim model. But
interesting.
But I do love the work that he's done on them.
Yeah.
Creating those the flamers.
Yeah, Dave, those are the flamethrowers.
Yep.
Yeah, they look great. I love it. The bases are really cool too.
Yeah, it's really nice stuff. And he painted up the observer model and said that this was his probably his most favorite model to paint over the last like 5 or 6 years.
It is a gorgeous model. I'm looking forward. I printed out a couple. I'm looking forward to painting that myself.
Yeah.
The probe droid head always throws me.
Yeah.
I've got mine right here.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Ooh, that looks good.
Sound like a little different, but yeah, it looks great, Josh. Beautiful work.
Yeah, beautiful work.
And his communicant with the anti-material rifle, his ammo monk.
Yes.
I love that the big guy. That thing's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. We might have to get
That's the second one, right? The original one is the one that he has it over his shoulder, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there are actually, there are 4 variants of it, but the original has it over his shoulder.
Super cool.
Nice work, Josh. Thanks for sharing those. But yeah, we'll have to see if we can get a game in at Adepticon. Justin McCoy.
Some more Kriegers.
Messing around with some, Death Corps Krieg.
Mm.
So he's having some fun playing around with different. I think this is like a planning model. Colors he wants to put on other parts of the army. So what he wants to see on vehicles and cavalry and infantry. So
I think the combo of the snow base with the weathered, kind of seeing the rust and some of the stuff that would be in the terrain really is a good combo. It fits well.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep, definitely. Yep,
It feels real.
It does.
Yeah, the rust sort of down towards the back here, and then at the bottom of the plates and on the wheels. Yeah, very definitely. Nice work, Justin. Very cool. Luis is,
he's working on his Dark Furies.
Yep, working on his Dark Furies. So John, I'm not sure how often do you work in sub assemblies? Is it just for your big Golden Demon?
Yeah, typically just for Golden Demon. I usually find that like I feel like I can work better in feeling how everything works together, even if it's difficult to reach. I'll just mash that brush in there. We'll get color in there. I'm not worried about it.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. But Luis comes to us from scale modeling and kits
and Gundam, and like so he does everything in some assemblies. I don't get it. Like I don't speak this design language. This is not how my brain processes. So.
Right.
But he's a regular at my store. He's a great guy and a phenomenal painter. But when I see this stuff, I'm just like, oh my god! Oh my god. I'm like, just build them all in Prime and Black.
Right.
Here's some of the shoulder pads that he's working on.
They look awesome.
And yeah, that silver is looking spectacular.
Yeah,
he found these are the actual original resin Dark Furies, and he found 3 sets of them online.
Wow.
Yep. That's great. Yeah, people diving into a lot of old Forge World resin. Must be something in the water.
Apparently, I didn't get the memo.
But looking beautiful there. Nice work.
I mean, all that resin had to end up somewhere.
This is true. It's going to filter out. But next up, Mark Maxey.
This guy's great. All the gradients on the axe, like on the cleaver head.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, a fun use of color here. It still feels Nurgle, but it's not so like leaning into the fact that it's you're painting a chibi plague marine, that like going a little bit more vibrant in the colors fits that kind of cartoony style while still feeling like it's Nurgle. That's a good line that he ran here. So great work, Mark.
I love the dinosaur skull in the base.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, really nicely sort of embedded there. But at the same time, it's there. You know that it's a skull, but it's not drawing a lot of attention.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's always a potential whenever we paint skulls to take it too high or too or make sort of a little bit too out of place. And so this definitely keeps that attention in that green sort of space around the head. But yeah, excellent. And a nice simple backdrop. Just keeps it all in. Nice work, Mark.
I like it.
Oops, wrong way. Patrick Keith, been having some fun with Tyranids.
Oh yeah, that's the kill team, the Ravener kill team.
Ravener kill team. The Death Noodles.
Yep.
As Patrick was calling them.
Yeah, those are the noodles.
Absolutely. So he's got his getting his base colors down there. And this is where he's taking them to. So
I like the subtle spottiness on the flesh parts, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it feels like it's a natural texture that you have in nature, and it feels like it's a purposeful to add some variation. I like that.
Yeah, but I think he's working on a whole bunch of Tyranids. So going from that, these base colors, I think he's got a particular wash for the red, which has got a lot of black in it.
Yeah,
And
pulling it out to the black is really cool. I think with Tyranids, I think Tyranids are a really easy model to kind of, I don't want to say stumble on, but like I think if you do like the flesh parts and you make that look pseudo realistic, you can kind of go as bananas as you want on like the carapaces and the blade bits. And I think that you can kind of get away with a lot there. But I always think that I think Tyranids always kind of land better if the skin looks realistic-ish and then the plates kind of do whatever. But
yeah, no, I agree. There we go. In the chat, Patrick says he flicked all of those spots with a toothbrush.
nice.
Old
Old school trick.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Tal is saying those are worse than danger noodles. We call rattlesnakes here. He said, "Yep, we've got rattlesnakes here in Texas."
Heresies in Australia, they call them nope robes.
Oh yes.
Fantastic. Excellent work there, Patrick. Looking great. Next up,
That is a heck of a tank.
Oh boy.
That's the Rata, the tank that was never actually built. It was only on the design.
That's like a battleship turret.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. It's absolutely a battleship turret. But so Pete was at Everwinter this weekend as well. Jake, you would have.
Yep.
I think you took a photo of some of these tables.
Yeah, I popped up and we checked in and talked to him when we went in on Friday night.
Yeah. So Peter ran a 16-person 6-game narrative campaign for Trench Crusade. So we've got a photo of some of the tables. He said that even though the faithful started out pretty poorly, they were the victors in the end. But some fantastic looking tables to sort of get down in amongst.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Looks like a great table to play at, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you been tempted to paint up the Lord of Tumors, John?
He's printed and primed, if that answers your question. Yeah. I like that. I like that guy a lot.
Yeah, he's spectacular. Very special.
He's in the waiting room. John just hasn't drawn his number yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Waiting for my cards to come in the mail and I can just use a random card on them.
That'd be that's gonna be a lot of fun. Excited to see that. But yeah, looking awesome. Here's another great table.
Oh my.
Yeah, I like that. That one's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a wild one to play on. I love the little. So we've got ladders and doors and platforms all around the side here, sort of spiraling up to the top.
It's your own mini game within a game. Can you get to the top?
Yep.
Unfortunately, when you get up there, Jake already has his dreadnought up there, so you're screwed.
Just up, guys, up.
He just punches you off. That's all he does.
That's your reward for making it to the top.
And there we go. Pete says the tower is 2.5 feet tall.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nice.
that's nice.
Yeah, this table was pretty cool. Right as you walked in this door, or like the door at the very end here, that was the first table you saw. We like dominated the whole room. It was pretty cool.
yeah.
Excellent. Dave almost says, all I can hear is Donkey Kong sounds.
Yeah, there's a monkey rolling barrels at you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. This is a very cool. I can only assume a heretic priest.
Very
conversion
cool.
For a both for a Knights of Avarice list.
Mm.
But excellent. Another enormous gun, enormous siege gun there on this table. Oh, there we go. Sorry, Pete says it's the chorister, not the heretic priest. It's a fantastic thing being able to just sort of pick and choose sort of models that really speak to you.
Yeah.
Your list. Great stuff.
It's like D&D Naga.
Uh,
Nice stuff. And I think this might be the last one, but again, great trench feel.
yeah. There's a feel of dampness in those trenches that I dig.
Yeah, that table feels wet.
You're losing a shoe on that one. But yeah, excellent. Thanks for sending those through, Pete. Definitely go and check out more in the group. There are loads more photos that Pete dumped in there. Definitely.
Oh, Pete said that's our buddy John Washer to that table. John's another XGW guy.
All right, awesome, very cool. But yeah, moist terrain check, deliciously muddy. Awesome stuff. Next up, Richard Dagger. Richard is painting up some boroughs and badges.
Okay, nice.
All it's a tabletop skirmish game with anthropomorphic animals.
Interesting.
Some fun looking models.
Yeah. They look like the ones from was it Animal Adventures from Steamforged?
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember who makes boroughs and badges, but they've been, it's been around for a while, probably 7 or 8 years. But out of the UK,
they read very like freebooter orcs.
right?
Instead of it being grots, and orcs, it's like, you know, there's a weasel and a bunch of little, like, I don't know, rats, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. It could be water rats. But yeah, it's definitely that kind of these models definitely have that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Sure. But looking nice there, Richard. Come on, cool. Oathsworn. There we go. Thanks, Jez. Oathsworn miniatures.
Nice. Build rats.
Build rats. Nice. Excellent. And I think finally, Stephen Ryder, Tabletop Super Show, painting up a Demogorgon.
Yep.
I just today finished up my binge watching while working and painting of seasons 1 through 4 of Stranger Things. So this is very timely. This is very classic. The classic Demogorgon, old white metal sculpt. Looks very similar to that aesthetic. I dig it.
There we go. Steven's in the chat says CR60 Demogorgon from 1983 by Grenadier.
Dang.
By Merleton. Sculpted by Jon Ninas. Painted for this contest by Merleton, celebrating the final season of Stranger Things.
Nice.
This is this model that we're looking at. This is the actual 1983 Grenadier model.
Yeah, it's the original.
Wow.
It's a cast from
okay
40 years ago.
Okay, I was like, damn, like that's worth some money.
Absolutely. Yeah, there we go. He's led an original release.
Oh boy.
So, but yeah, awesome stuff. I think, you've done an excellent job there, Stephen.
Yeah, great paint
Super
job
cool.
on it. I love it.
Yeah,
It
those
definitely
eyes
pops.
pop really nicely. But yeah,
Very
very
cool.
cool. Awesome. So I think that is it for minis from the community.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for sending those in. Keep them coming.
Yep.
Yeah,
There we go.
those are all
it's
great.
42 years old. But next week will be our 2025 wrap up.
Yeah,
And
we'll have Phil on for the ultimate episode of the season.
So we'll be talking about all the different things that we got up to this year. Did we have a good year? Was it? Did we achieve all of our goals? Did we have any goals? Who remembers? I just learned that I love Trench Crusade. That's my wrap up.
I wouldn't have guessed, Dave. I wouldn't have guessed.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, Phil is really kind of an understated, meek guy, so I'm sure he won't have a whole lot to say. So
it'll be pretty quiet.
He's a little squirrely. We gotta drag him out of his shell.
It'll be great. He's actually playing in a doubles tournament at Games and Stuff in my neck of the woods this coming weekend. So I'm going to go and say hi. We'll make sure we get some photos of the event. But yeah,
sounds
definitely
fun.
Awesome.
Well, anything else you want to plug or talk about or throw out?
Oh gosh. No. YouTube.
All the things.
Yeah, on YouTube, I'm on Ninjon. If you want to watch some painting videos. I also have a miniature painting podcast called Trapped Under Plastic, where we have a new video every other week. We're not weekly like you guys. And if you happen to be a tabletop RPG player, if you're a D&D nerd, Vince Venturella and I recently started another podcast about tabletop RPGs and D&D. It's called Fireball the Gazebo. That is a weekly podcast, and that's on YouTube as well as all podcast locales as well. So
that's all, dude. I play so much RPG, like so much. You can't see it, but I have so this is books, and then I have more books over there, and all my minis are on the other side, and then this whole side of the room is all books, and I have like a whole cabinet that's just RPGs, like table, floor to ceiling. It's huge.
That's good. We are. I could tell you're a man of good taste. Then I try.
There's so much good stuff.
I haven't played an RPG for a long time, but we used to play a lot during high school. Surprise. But when we play at my place and the weather was nice, we would play outside in our gazebo.
Oh,
so
well,
I am confident there were many fireballs cast in that gazebo.
From the gazebo.
Nice. Very nice. John, what shows, do you know what shows you're doing next year? Like, what shows are we going to see you at?
I will be at Adepticon. I will be at Nova. I think I'm going to go to my very first Gen Con this year. I can't 100% confirm or deny that, but I really, really want to. And I think there was one other one I was going to go to as well, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm always at Adepticon and I'm always at Nova for sure. Those are my two big ones.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely see you there. I know that I have to set up a call next week with John Schaefer and CJ Crump and a bunch of guys. We're planning we're gonna do a Battle at the Farm Rogue Trader event.
Oh,
wow. It started out as like 3 or 4 of us doing it, and then it turned into like 8 people, and now we're like, why don't we just run an event? And I was like, okay, fine. So I guess we're running an event now. But that should be a good time. But yeah, Adepticon is my favorite, so I'm definitely looking forward. Hank was in the chat. I don't know if he's still here, but
I missed him.
That'll be a good time. So Dave, you got anything else?
No, I think that is it for me.
All right. Well, we did pretty good at staying right at the 2-hour mark. Like Dave and I are usually 2 hours ish. So, John, if you want to hang out for a few minutes, we'll log out and then we'll meet up afterwards. But huge thank you to John. Thanks to the Army Painter for sponsoring us. Thanks everybody for jumping online and checking things out. Make sure you go check out John's stuff. It's all listed below. Dave has links for everything. You can still order the cards, both sets. Make sure you do so. If you guys need anything, reach out to us. Make sure you post your miniatures. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We will see you guys next week. Stay safe out there, And as always, do not forget to build,
paint, play.
Got
And
there.
sit down. Shut up and sit down.